Jersey City is the most expensive city in the country to get an apartment. Is it even worth it? Let's find out. What is going on? It's Eddie Casanova with eXp Realty and the Smart Market Agents Group. If this is your first time hitting up this channel, hit subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time that I do a video, and make sure that you leave a comment. If you're looking to relocate to Jersey City, looking to rent or purchase something, feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna have my information in the description so you can, so you'll know how to get in touch with me. Now, as the title says, Jersey City, it's one of the most sought after cities, one of the most expensive cities to live. And what I wanna talk about is why are people coming over here? Why are they relocating from other parts of the country? And why it's become an alternative to Manhattan, which is right across the river. That's what you see back there. And I've been here for several years. I'm originally from New York. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll find out. And there's actually another video for Jersey City that if you want to take a look, you know, watch it once you're done with this one. So let's get into some of the reasons why people are coming over here. So the first reason I'm going to say is how close we are to New York City, right? A lot of folks need to be close to Manhattan because that's where they work, that's where they're making their money. I've worked with people who have relocated from other parts of the country to New Jersey because they've been put into an office in Manhattan, in the Big Apple. So, but they want to still be close to Manhattan, but they want a little bit more for their money, but they still want to be in a great area. They still want to take advantage of all the great things that come along with being in this part of the Northeast. So we're pretty close. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you in a second the boat ride. Within 10 minutes, I would even say, not even that, you're already in the downtown area. And as a matter of fact, if you take a look right here, that's where you're going to be when you take the boat. And it's a beautiful ride, quick ride, and there's no cooler way than to go to work than on a boat, right? If you like boats, assuming that you do. I want to touch on not only what I think you should be considering when coming to this city, but also I do want to touch on, because this is really about renting a place out here, although a lot of this pertains to people who want to buy, make sure that you have your docs ready. What I mean is make sure that you've got your pay stubs ready, make sure you've filled out the application, make sure that you've gotten your credit report, everything that you need ready. Because one thing that I'll tell you, and this not only applies to this city, but many others, is if you like an apartment, you go see it today, let's say you see it in the morning, it could be gone by the evening. So the mistake that I see a lot of people make is go out and see a bunch of apartments and then you want to gather your docs. And what ends up happening is you take a day, 2 days to gather your stuff for the landlord or for an agent if you're being represented. And by the time you get all your stuff in, the apartment is gone, right? It happens more often than not. So one of the things that I try to tell people is, listen, get your ducks in a row. If you're already planning on getting a place, you know, this is standard stuff. Get your pay stubs in order. Have an idea where you are with your credit. Make sure that you have the funds ready, right? You normally need around 3 to 3.5 times the rent to get a place out here in Jersey, okay? So make sure that you have the money, everything in place. So once you go out there and start seeing places, you know, you're good to go, right? The worst thing in the world is to go out and see apartments, go see places, fall in love with one, and by the time you get around to, you know, getting your documents together, the apartment is gone. That's the light rail. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but that's another way to kind of get around here in Jersey City. Okay, so now that we just saw that train pass by, I wanna kind of touch on the light rail, the path, and just all the different ways. We touched on the boat, the waterway, so many different ways to kind of navigate your way in and out of this city. Again, we're in the downtown Jersey City area, but that light rail will take you out to Hoboken and also to Bayonne. So it's a great way for you to get in and out. And the path, of course, takes you into the city, which, you know, that's how a lot of folks, if they're not taking the boat, that's how they get into the city from this part of Jersey City. What are people renting out here, right? So, and how does it compare to the city? Now, in my opinion, one of the cool things about being on this side of Jersey City is the fact that if you have a building, for example, this one, 77 Hudson, I've showed them a lot of apartments, a lot of units in this building. The views that you get, as you can imagine, right? There's a helicopter's passing by. The views that you get of the city are just absolutely amazing. And it's one of the reasons why people do come to downtown Jersey City, because think about it, if you live, it's nice to have a view if you have an apartment in the city, but you're gonna be facing Jersey City, right? Nothing wrong with that, that's also beautiful. But if you're in Jersey City and you have a nice view, let's say if you're in a high rise, for example, 77 Hudson right behind me, like I said, 48 stories, so it goes up pretty high. The view from those units are amazing. You can see the Statue of Liberty. I mean, it's just absolutely breathtaking. So, and I think I just saw, like, there's an apartment in here, I think, renting for $3,700. So, compare that to what you might get in New York City. There's apartments that are that expensive in Manhattan, and you're not gonna get any kind of view, right? So I would say the type of rental units that you'll get for the price, I think fare a lot better here in Jersey. Even though we kind of touched on the fact that you could probably get possibly a much nicer place, a much bigger place here in Jersey City versus Manhattan, you might also realize that it might cost you the same if you wanted to buy over here. Because once you start getting into rents of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, that could potentially be a mortgage for a multifamily home on this side of New Jersey. And I'll tell you from experience, I just had somebody that I was working with who was relocating from another state. We ran the numbers and they realized, wow, I can buy something for that, for what I'm gonna be renting. So that's another thing to consider, right? I mean, once you start, getting close to spending $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, like I said, you have to weigh that out, especially the amount of money it's gonna take you to secure an apartment. As we mentioned earlier, 3.5 times. So let's say, keep the numbers even, 15 grand to get an apartment. Put a little bit more down, you can possibly buy a condo for that price, for that amount of money. So it really depends. It still might not make sense for you to buy because maybe you're only gonna be out here for a year. But that's why you gotta compare all aspects, because you might realize buying might make more sense. But obviously that's an individual decision. All right, so along with things like, is it safe? Is the area good to live in? And people do inquire about the school districts. And what you'll notice is that, and I suggest you always do your research. Don't take my word for it. I'm just a guy on YouTube, kind of throwing some things out there. There are some pretty nice schools in this area, right? Some of them are ranked anywhere from 8 to 9 out of 10, all right? So if you're looking to relocate from somewhere else and that matters to you, you might find that there's gonna be a handful of schools that might fit your criteria when it comes down to a high level of education. Now, again, this is all subjective, but it's certainly one of the reasons why people are coming into this part of Jersey City. Along with the whole idea of whether the schools are fairly good and some of the other things that we talked about, this is still considered to be a fairly safe area, right? And again, with all of these things, I suggest that you do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Come and see this area for yourself. Stop by, you know, any time of the day, evening, etc. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable, right? So statistics are one thing, but then also how you feel when you're around this area, especially if you're, you know, a young lady, so to speak. So it's something that I definitely recommend you verify for yourself, but by general standards, it is still considered a fairly safe city.
All right, guys, so I had to bring it back into the studio. It got way too windy and way too humid out there. But I did want to mention before ending this video, the bars and restaurants. There are so many to choose from here in Jersey City. So I would definitely recommend doing your own research, checking out all the different types of places that you can go to have a drink, get a bite, whether you're looking to get a nice steak, get some veggie, you know, vegetarian food or Spanish food. There's something here for everyone, so make sure to, you know, check out what this town has to offer. And that's about it. If you guys are looking to see what it takes to relocate into this town, make sure to check out the description area. You'll be able to see how you can get in touch with me, how to get on a call. And also make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be putting out a lot more of these videos in the near future, so be sure to stay tuned. Thanks again. Have a good one. Take care.